Hello everybody, it's Marvel DC Fan, back again with another video, and today, my friends, we're doing another ranking, and Melodite's not here with me this time because, we did like 5 videos in a row, so I think he's pretty much guaranteed a break at this point. So instead, I brought Swfte over. How's it going, man?
It's good. I'm glad to be here. Hopefully we can get more of these, collaborations going because I had fun. If you guys didn't know, he was on my channel. We did a ranking video there.
Yeah.
So if you want to go check that out, definitely go check it out because it was a really good video. I had a good time doing it, and now I'm looking forward to ranking all these other bat suits.
Yeah, so on his channel, we did top 5 comic book Batsuits, which I'll link down below, and also I might annotate it up in the corner there. But today, my friends, we are going to be ranking the live action Batsuits. So he has a list. I have a list.
I has a
Um,
list.
I has a list. It's pretty much going to be the same as the other videos. Like he'll start off with his list, and then I'll go through mine, and we'll have a rip roaring good time. So,
Yep.
without further ado, why don't you start us off with worst to best? Let's say.
Okay. Worst to best. All right. So start coming in at number 17. Yes, I have 17 suits.
Okay.
Not quite up to par with Marvel's list, but it's I did my best. So
Mm-hmm.
number 17 is Batman and Robin. That suit to me is just really underwhelming. I think it's
Yeah.
basically the Val Kilmer suit with less color. So it's just like it feels like they took all of the just soul out of that suit, and that was what was left. So it's just a bad suit in a bad movie,
Mm-hmm.
with a bad cast. It's just bad everywhere. So um, that's number 17. Number 16 is Batman 1943. So I swapped a couple of these out because I thought about it, and there was some suits that I actually realized that were better than the other ones. So number 16 is the Batman 1943 suit. Me and Marvel were talking this uh, a little bit ago, and the suit really is a lack of color. In all honesty, I mean it's just gray on gray, and it's just kind of like not really that interesting. I mean, it was really what brought us into live action Batmans,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not like horrible because they were using what they could use back then, but it's nothing special compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
Number 15 is Batman and Robin from 1949. Overall, a better suit, more color. I like the design a bit better. It's basically the same suit, but with more pizzazz, I guess. I guess we were going into the 50s, so it was like
Mm-hmm.
a little bit better.
Yeah.
Uh, Number 14 is Batman and Robin, the ice suit. So, as a kid, I really liked this suit, and as I've gotten older, it's weird. So it's just like it doesn't fit Batman at all. It's like really bright, and there's nothing wrong with bright suits. Like I really like the Zur-En-Arrh suit for Batman. It's interesting, but it fits that storyline. And Batman and Robin, it was just like kind of following the Burton verse, and it didn't make any sense why it was so like lighthearted and funny. And the suit doesn't fit that universe at all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if it was just Schumacher's movies, then it would, but it doesn't. The next one I have is Batman Forever, the normal Batman Forever suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Joel Schumacher's version of the '89 suit, and the bat nipples, man, the bat nipples.
Never forget.
They're just, yeah, it just, oh boy, no, not having it. So the bat nipples ruin everything about that suit, and the suit itself is a bit more of like a glossy version of the '89 suit.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, number 12 is the Justice League tactical suit. I like the fact that it's armored. I really enjoyed like the armored part, but I was not a big fan of the sunglasses. Just I feel like it makes him look like he has big old googly eyes. Um, and the cowl as well doesn't look that great. It's basically the same as the normal Justice League cowl with a little bit of armor on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. I think the actual suit itself is really cool, though the actual armored part.
Mm-hmm.
So 11, we have the normal Justice League suit. I like the suit, don't like the cowl. That's really all I can say. It's basically a little bit more of an up version of the BVS suit, but in my opinion, it's not really that upped at all. It's more downhill than the BVS suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, number 10 is Batman Begins Nightmare suit. I like it because it's more of a psychological based suit than any of the other suits on this list. It's really how criminals see Batman in their head, how he's a sort of a force of nature and a legend rather than a man in a suit. And it's just a really creepy suit when you watch the movie. It's always kind of weird to watch because it's so freaky,
Mm-hmm.
with the black goo coming out of his mouth and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, so number 9, I got Batman 66. What can I say? I mean, I love Adam West. I think everybody loves Adam West. Um, he brought an iconic version of Batman to the big screen where it was kind of less about the emotional side of Batman and just about like the swinging 60s and, dancing and all these wild colors and kind of campiness. And I like watching it from time to time again because it's a different take on Batman that we'll probably never see again and haven't seen since, except for maybe the failed version of Schumacher. But yeah, Batman 66 suit is really cool. I like the cowl, even though it looks weird to today's standards, but it was really cool back then, and I love the color scheme of the suit. I love the belt. In all honesty, I love that belt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's a fun, lighthearted suit. Um, so for number 8, we got BVS Armored. I think it's really cool. It's basically Frank Miller's suit, but upped with modern technology. Frank Miller's was more of like a fabric-based suit. It had like a grayish button-up thing in the middle, and it really fit that time period. So it was fitting that they made this one fit more into 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the design of it. I like the fact that it doesn't have a bat symbol, just like the Frank Miller one, because it's sort of like an extension of his bat suit rather than another bat suit, um, which is something I really like. And I like it when they do that with a lot of bat suits. They did it for the Batman TV show from '04, where he had that mech suit, and I like all that stuff. It's really interesting to see what he uses it for. And in BVS, it was underused, I think, in a lot of ways, but for the time we did see it, I really liked it. Um, Next, I have the Batman Forever sonar suit. Um, I like the design of this suit. It's kind of what the Batman Forever suit should have been, rather than what we got. Even though we only had it for what was it, like 20 minutes maybe in the movie? Would you say?
Yeah, like 20, like maybe even 15 at the shortest. Like we didn't get
Yeah,
a whole lot of time with it.
no. But the design's cool. Doesn't have a lot of color, but the design makes up for that. It doesn't have bat nips, like thank God, and
Yeah.
and the cowl is really good looking. I really like it. And it's not overly bulky, but you can tell there's some, armor to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like looking at it. It's a nice looking suit. Um, 6. This was a tough one. This 6-1 was kind of tough. 6 is Batman 89. This suit is obviously iconic for the reason that it looks incredible. It was designed perfectly for that movie and the universe, but also it really gave us our first big scale live action Bat film. And for that, it'll always be iconic. And when you have a great movie mixed with a great suit, it mixes with perfect results.
Mm-hmm.
So everything about the suit, from the obviously the oversized cowl on freaking Keaton's face that just looks kind of wacky, but it works. And
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't imagine that movie without that because it would just make it even weirder.
Yeah.
But yeah, that suit will always be incredible. Um, it was a new direction for Batman. It was an all black suit, which had never been done before, even in comics. I believe it had never been done. And it was I mean, it's Tim Burton written all over it. So what can you say? Um,
True.
no, number 5 is the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises suits. Now, obviously, you guys can see I put Begins over this because I don't know. There's something about Begins that I prefer more than these suits, but that doesn't take away the credit that these suits have. I think they really defined a generation of Bat fans, just like the 66 suit and the 89 suit did. This one as well created a whole slew of Bat fans when this movie came out in '08.
Right.
I mean, it's an iconic suit because it was very innovative in the sense of it really brought an armored kind of take on Batman, more of a militarized version, but sticking to the roots of what the bat suit is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simple with colors. I mean, it's all black. There's with exception of the belt, but Christian Bale really makes that suit because I think that suit strives off of his body type and how he's not a huge bulky guy. Um, the suit really is more of a thin Batman, or a lean Batman rather,
Mm-hmm.
and it fits for Christian Bale and nobody else. You know, you can't fill those shoes, like Bale did. So that suit is totally iconic. I still love the suit. It's kind of like an exoskeleton if you look at it. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's number 5. Number 4, we're starting to tread in to the top 5 here. So so the Batman 2022 by Matt Reeves
Ah.
is my number 4, and we haven't really seen anything with this suit, but what we have seen is a fresh new take on Batman, a fresh new take on the suit. We're going back to that perfect black and gray iconic look that Batman has always had. Um, it's something that I really like that they're going with that because we had it in BVS and we didn't get enough of it, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're bringing it back with a sort of Dark Knight universe kind of look where it's kind of armored but it's not overly bulky. And I like the fact that it was built by Pattinson and, you know, more, I was about to say Morgan Freeman. I mean Lucius Fox has nothing to do with it. but, but yeah, it's nice to see a beginner's kind of take on the bat suit, and we haven't seen. I mean, we kind of saw it in Batman Begins, but even in Batman Begins, the suit is really high tech because it was made at Wayne Enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one is really truly a year 1, year 2 kind of suit.
Yeah, like he literally
Um,
pieced it together himself.
right. I love that idea, and I can't wait to see if we actually see that. Like maybe in the movie, I don't know what they're gonna do, but maybe we'll see like the first iterations of the bat suit in the Batcave or something. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but just to see the evolution of how we got to the one we got in the movie or the trailers, and then what they're going to do for the sequels, if they're going to upgrade or kind of do what The Dark Knight did and keep the same formula. But I don't know. I don't think a lot of people want that personally. I think people want different suits. But yeah. So the Batman 2022, that's number 4. Number 3 is these next top 3 were the hardest ones to put. But number 3 is Batman Begins. For some reason, when I was younger, I always gravitated to this suit. And I don't know. I think I just enjoy the aesthetics of the suit more,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a little bit bulky and he can't move his freaking head in it.
Yeah.
Um, like it looks so awkward, but I really love how it looks on him. Um, I love the armor layout on his chest. I love the bat symbol. It's not necessarily as iconic as the Dark Knight one, that kind of sleek small bat symbol, but I really like the big bat symbol on his chest. I always have. And I fucking love the oversized cape. I will never stress that enough. I always have loved oversized capes on Batman
Mm-hmm.
because it looks intimidating and it just looks awesome to glide in. And the gliding scenes in that movie, because of that suit, were incredible. So yeah, Batman Begins. Always loved that suit, and I always loved the movie. So number 2, these two were the hardest. Number 2 is BVS. I think 1 and 2 can definitely be interchanged on how I'm feeling on a certain day, but I've just been feeling BVS number 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it because it's the perfect amount of armor and classic batsuit and the cowl. is freaking phenomenal. I can't stress it enough. It just looks so damn. It looks like he's really really bulky, but it also looks sleek and clean. And I love the wear and tear on the suit. I think it adds to that he's an older Batman. He's been through a lot. Um, Obviously, I'm like you. I like trunks or no trunks on my bat suits, but this one not having trunks just makes it that much more unique to it being only from BVS.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love the belt. But one thing I love is the simplicity of how much they didn't really show on the outside of the suit. All of the armor and technique, I'm sorry, not technique, technology was on the inside of the suit, like the bulletproof helmet that you would have no idea what even existed.
Yeah.
Um, and I love the simplicity of the gauntlets. It's just this really sleek black with no really armor showing. And yeah, like I said, it's the perfect mix of technology of Batman and also the simplicity of the suit. So that's number two. Number one is Batman Returns. This suit, to me, improved on everything that 1989 suit did perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
and just improved on it 1,000 times better. The helmet looks perfect. I'm sorry, not the helmet. The cowl looks perfect. Um, the armor on the chest looks phenomenal, and I think it looks better than the kind of rubberized like abs on the '89 suit. Even though I like it, I just prefer this. Yeah, this suit is classic to me because Batman Returns is in my top three favorite Batman movies, and I could never imagine the movie with the '89 suit over this one. I think this suit is just perfect. It's
Mm-hmm.
the perfect bat suit for the movies,
Yeah, it
in
is
my
a
opinion.
great, like, it is really a great suit and fits perfectly with the aesthetic of that movie.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
but yeah, that's number one. So
yeah,
that's my list.
that was a
I
good
hope you
list.
guys enjoyed.
That was a
Thank
really
you.
good
I hope
list.
you guys enjoyed, and let's listen in on what Marvel has to say because he has more suits than I do.
Yeah, I do. Okay. While I was putting this list together, I just had a realization, like, uh, part way while I was looking through. Like, I had the list done, I showed it to him, and then for a second, I'm just like, am I missing like something? And I went through the Batsuit wiki just to make sure, and I'm like, oh, I did like miss a couple suits. So these are literally all the live action Batsuits I can find. If I'm missing any, then whatever. Um, but I'm gonna try and go as quickly as I can because as much as I love talking about the Batsuits, like if I just went into absolute detail, then we'd be here all day. So
We'll
um,
save that for a special occasion.
it's yeah, true. Save that for the podcast. But
Yep.
so coming in at 21 is the the ice suit from Batman and Robin. And I know there are worse suits than this, and I mean the next two especially are really bad, but this is just awful. Like this is literally a toy commercial. And another
Yeah.
thing that I thought of while like thinking about it was like this is really a batsuit designed by committee because you know that the executives really wanted this in there. Um, but yeah, it's just a bad suit. Like overall, like I know Batman would have suits for special occasions, but this just looks really really bad, and
I
this
would
was a
say that
mistake.
the suit's worse because of the reason it was put in the movie. Not so much that it was in there, but the reason it was put in there
Yeah,
is there's a reason it's so bad because
yeah,
they probably would have done something completely different
yeah.
if it hadn't have been like you said for the committee.
Yeah, I'm sure for like story purposes it works, but like just from the thought that like this was literally like a board of directors thought this up most likely
Yeah,
is
and I mean I know it's higher on my list than Marvel's, but it doesn't take away the fact that it's a really shit suit.
yeah.
For like objective standards. Like I just like the suit because it's my childhood, but objectively it's a really bad suit.
Yeah. Um So moving on to 20 is the Titans quote unquote Batsuit. Now, they did a really clever thing in the show itself, even though I don't like Titans, but like I've seen the scenes of Batman in there. They did a really smart thing where they covered him up in shadow and, they didn't really show much of him. But it's a good thing they didn't show much of him because if you see the behind the scenes, that suit is trash. Like it's literally like it's not even a suit. Like it's just whatever they had lying around pieced together. Like even the cowl is just ripped from. It's probably ripped from those Batman OnStar commercials. Like I'm certain of that. But yeah, it's just an awful looking suit, and so it's probably the best thing that they covered it up in the shadows because goddamn. Moving on to number 19 is the Gotham Batsuit. Now, I know this was a TV show. They didn't have, the biggest budget around, but even just from a design standpoint, this is really awful. I think the worst offender for me is not only like the cowl just looks weird, but also like the fact that the logo overlaps into the cape. I don't know why. It just something about it just seems like it's just off to me. And every time I look at this
Yeah.
suit, I get like sadder each and every time.
Sadder each time.
Oh man, it's bad. Um, so 18 is the 1943 suit. It's infamous for reasons, not for the reasons that you think it would be, but it's like I'm pretty much in the same boat with Swifte. Like it's just comparing it with the 1949 suit, which is the next one. You know, I think the difference in color is what really kills it for me because there's a scene, and I've watched the serial, so I like. There's a scene where he's sitting in the Batcave, like at his desk, and all the lights and everything are on him, and it's literally just gray on gray. Like it, it looks bad. And this was the 1940s after all, but even then, like in contrast, it still looks awful. Um, but yeah, anyway, moving on to the 1949 suit, it fixes things while pretty much being mostly the same suit. Like it has a darker kind of color scheme and also has a bigger bat logo, but like it still has the really weird like cone ears, so it makes them look more like horns than anything. But yeah, I know it's limitations at the time, but like still comparing it to the Batsuits of today, like there's you're not going to get any mileage out of that Halloween costume. But um, moving on to the next suit is the George Clooney costume, the main Batman or Robin costume. Not only like is it devoid of color, but it's also like it's not even black. Like it's a purple batsuit. Like I guess like it was trying to emulate the '60s show, being really campy and all, but like purple bat suits just don't work. Like especially
Yeah.
when you're covered head to toe in the same
Mm,
color.
yeah.
And also, the nipples, the giant codpiece, all that stuff, yada yada yada, and terrible suit. Um, so next up is the main Batman Forever suit, the Val Kilmer costume, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's Schumacher's version of the Burton outfit, but you know even though Kilmer looks really good in the costume, you know, the subtle like changes that were made to it just like don't work at all for me. Like I like the nipples and the codpiece. Yeah, yeah. I really don't like the belt. The belt looks really weird, and it's also not yellow, which makes it just kind of a weird decision when you think about it. But um, it's just not a good looking suit. Like in contrast to especially returns, um,
Hmm.
and it's such a shame. Um,
Okay.
but anyway, moving on is the Justice League suit, the main Justice League suit. Now there's a lot that I really like about the costume on the surface. It's pretty much the BVS suit, but with just more armor plating on top of it, which, granted, looks really nice. Uh, but the two main things that bugged me about it are uh, the cowl and then the color scheme of the costume, because it's just a little bit too gray, like dark gray. Like I liked BVS's more like kind of lighter gray, like it had a better contrast and all that, but like this just is a little bit too dark for it, and also that cowl just looks awful. Uh, I know some people like this over BVS, but you're still not going to convince me otherwise. So,
Yeah.
um, moving on to my next spot at number 13, the Nightmare outfit, which is the BVS costume in a trench coat, which, it looks really cool. Um, didn't really get enough of it, but like, you know, I can live with that. For the moments it did had, even though he was a, cold-blooded murderer, like, still looked good in the costume. Um, I like the goggles. I like the trench coat. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna move on. um, so next up is the hallucination costume from Batman Begins. Um, Even though we literally got like not even a minute of this outfit, like I still like the fact that this is what criminals imagine Batman looking like. And it really is a terrifying image. That still, like, even as a kid seeing this, like, I was horrified. And watching it over the years, like, it still like manages to creep me out a little bit. But even though we didn't really good look at the costume from the shoulders downward, like, it's still made for a kick-ass hot toy figure. So, um, anyway, moving on to number 11 is the CW suit. Now, the only time you really got to see this suit was on display, both in the main Earth Batcave and also the Kevin Conroy Earth. You're just sitting there, and even though it hasn't really been worn at all, like, I still like the design of it, despite the fact that it's all black from head to toe. Like, there's no color in there whatsoever. Um, but like, all throughout, I like the various design elements of it. But but yeah, that's pretty much it for that suit. So anyway, moving on to the top 10, which this was really hard to nail down. But the Adam West suit. Uh, I love this suit to piece. I'm a huge fan of Adam West and the 60s television show. And even though it was a really campy show and a really campy outfit, and it doesn't look as great as some of the bat suits of today, like, I still like the look of it, even with like the tiny logo, the giant belt, the painted on eyebrows. um like, still visually, like, I still like it. And I think when it comes to Batman fans of today, like, they really don't give enough credit to Adam West's Batman, and I think that's kind of a shame, honestly. But
Yeah.
respect the West. Like, um, so moving on to number 9 on my list is the sonar suit from Batman Forever. Automatically, this is above the regular Forever suit because it doesn't have the nipples on there. Um, I like the design of it. The only thing that really bugs me about it is the color scheme. Like, it's just a little bit too silver. Like, if they went just a little bit of a darker color, then I think it would have made it higher on my list. But like, I like the design, even the stupid grills on the side of his ears. Like, I enjoy. So, um, what can I say? It's a guilty pleasure for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, moving on to number 8 is the mech suit from Batman vs Superman. Um, this is literally Frank Miller's armored suit taken off the comic book page and put right onto the big screen. Like, it looks great. It has its own kind of subtle changes, but like, they still managed to make it look good in this this, I wouldn't say realistic, but like sort of exciting and wonderful world, and it just looks great on Ben, honestly. And I love what they did with the eyes, especially making them glow, because before they were just blank white. So it's a good way of incorporating that into the live action movies, which they haven't really done before, aside from The Dark Knight. But whatever. Still a great suit. So for the next spot is the tactical suit from Justice League. I like the armored look, the fact that it's pretty much pieces over the main Justice League suit. The cowl still looks weird, despite the fact that it's more armor and stuff. It still looks bad. The sunglasses, like, honestly, I like them. I like the sunglasses, even though they just ripped them right off of Night Owl and just threw it on Batman. Like, it makes it stand out compared to other suits. Just you know, rather than it looking just like another bland armored Batsuit. So, I give it credit for that, but I just like it, honestly. Like, there's not really much to say other than, I like it. But so moving on to the next suit is the Batman Begins suit. Um, you know, it was a great way of pretty much reinventing Batman from what it was. Bringing his franchise back from the dead. Um, Putting Batman in a more realistic world. For like Dark Knight onward, I still think that Batman Begins is Christopher Nolan's, you know, only Batman movie that really felt like a comic book universe. But I like the fact that they incorporated a lot of like they explained where it all came from rather than just being like, here's the bat suit. Like, and like he just brought all these pieces and stuff. Like, he pieced it all together from Wayne Tech and his Ninja days. And I think that, like, from not only a design standpoint but also a story standpoint, I think that's really cool. The only thing that bugs me about this suit is that it's just a little too bulky, which I know some people like find that's one of its charms, but for me it's just like, because Christian Bale worked out a little bit too much for this movie, that I prefer him as more like a lean actor. And I think, like, the fact that he bulked up just a little bit too much, like, kind of hurt the bat suit, but still a great design nonetheless. So next up is the Batman Returns suit, which, if anything, is just a perfected '89 suit. Like, I love that they pretty much streamlined it from all the design flaws from the '89 suit. I love that they changed the logo to just like a standard logo. I love the armored look of it. Um, it just looks nice on screen and fits. I think I said this earlier, but it fits really well with the aesthetic of the movie, and
Yeah.
makes it really pop. So,
Mm.
uh, looks great on Keaton, and I hope when they do the Flash movie, they bring that suit back. Um,
Yeah.
Even though they'll probably have to CGI his face to make him look younger or whatever, like, it'd be cool to see Keaton back in that costume. So,
Oh yeah.
moving on to the next, to number 4, is the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises suit. Um, I know some people, go back and forth because, uh, it's just like armor plating on top of like mesh or whatever. But I like it, even though it's trying to go for a more kind of military aesthetic, something more akin to like SWAT teams or what have you. But I just like the design, and I like the fact that you know it makes Batman more agile. Like, he could move a lot more than he did than previous films. he could turn his head for one thing, so that's uh, something that we hadn't seen before, unless it was the '60s show. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, I just like the design overall of the armored suit look. It fits within the real world that they were trying to do for that universe. Um, anyway, moving on to number three, which is the Robert Pattinson costume. I think, like you, we said it earlier. Like the main thing that I love is that he literally. It feels like he just pieced this all together. Like it's not like Lucius gave him all of these tools and stuff. Like what happened in Batman Begins. This is literally him just taking scraps of metal and Kevlar and whatever he could find and just putting them all together and making this outfit that you see before you. Um, uh, it's a great look. The fact that they incorporated the black and gray to an early kind of real world Batman. I want to say it's real world, but with like a bit of comic book flair. Um, and to me, this is probably the closest thing we'll ever get to the first appearance costume being in a movie. So, uh, I like the first appearance suit. If you can watch Swifte's video to know that I really love the first appearance costume.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't wait to see the movie and to see Robert Pattinson in the costume more. Anyway, moving on to number two. This was really hard to pin down because, like you said, like these next two are pretty much interchangeable. Like it
Yeah.
depends on my mood and what I'm thinking of that day that switches these back and forth in my mind. But as of now, for number two is the 1989 Michael Keaton costume. And even though everything was pretty much refined in Batman Returns, I think the you know the the kind of mishaps and uh I'm trying to find the word for it, like just really weird qualities about it is why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Like from the misshapen ears, the weird logo, um, the
I
fact that
love
he's
the
wearing like
logo. It's one of
Nike
my favorite
shoes,
things. Oh yeah, that's right. He is wearing Nike shoes.
um, even down to the suit itself, just looking like really kind of grimy, which I feel really fits with the aesthetic of the '89 movie, where it's just kind of like Gotham looks really disgusting and just like horrible
Yeah.
to be in. So, uh, uh, it just works. Like it's just, I love it. I always have since I was a kid watching it, even though I probably shouldn't have, but I can blame my parents for that. So,
That's one
uh,
thing about this suit I like more than Returns is the logo. Personally, I like the weird logo.
yeah, it makes it like definitely stand out more, um,
Yeah.
uh, compared to them just using the regular old uh, bat logo.
Yeah.
Um, all right, moving on to number one. It's the Ben Affleck BVS costume. This is literally comic book Batman brought to life. Um, Even though it's pretty much Dark Knight Returns Batman, there's a lot of design elements. Like it's Dark Knight Returns, but it also has like New 52 and like Noel mixed in, and it makes for like a pretty perfect um, combination. Um, I love the color scheme. I love the design. Another thing, like they made it functional despite the fact that he's in this big kind of like he's wearing a big rubber cowl, but somehow the materials they used made it super flexible so he can actually turn his head and he's not just like moving his shoulders to move like he does in Justice League. um, so I always love functionality in uh, the bat suits, and it's just great. Like it's just Batman, and
Yeah.
um, you know, even though it has no trunks, which I don't mind either way, with or without. I still think it would look good with trunks or without, but it's still a great suit nonetheless. So, um, anyway, that's my list, and that's the video. Thank you to Swfte for joining me, and I hope we can do more collaborations soon because these are always fun to do with you.
100%.
So, what do you have on the docket for those curious about coming over to your channel? Do you have any videos planned that you'd like to share?
Well, if Batman Ultra ever frickin' sends me the audio for our collaboration, then that'll be coming out. So that's something new that's coming to the channel, and mostly just I want to try and get some gameplay videos in, just some maybe some let's plays and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people are interested in that, and that's something I was never really doing that often.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to get into let's plays, and also maybe I think I'm gonna start doing comic book reviews, um, and graphic novel reviews definitely of maybe even ones that I've read before that I just want to delve into my deep thoughts on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and obviously, of course, keeping up with the news for all things MCU, DCEU, and DC and Marvel video games. So that's always on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Awesome.
that's really it.
Please, please be sure to subscribe to Swifty's channel. You can find a link in the description down below, along with the collaboration we did. It was a lot of fun. I
Yes,
recommend you
it
guys
was.
go check it out. Um, in terms of what I'm doing, well, of course, we always have the podcast every week, so be sure to tune in for that. And I got a couple other videos on the docket that I'm I'm really excited about. I have one finished. I'm just editing up the other one, so you'll see when those happen. But yeah, can't wait for what comes next for my videos. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share all that fun stuff. Be sure to follow us down below on everything, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also I have a Discord server, which I'm gonna start doing uh, some some stuff with the server, like maybe like a movie night or a game night, whatever. I want to start doing that, and so if you're interested, come on by and join us for that. So anyway, have a great night. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.